And of course, it's been a minute since we've seen each other. I know, said every time I start over with my podcast. But I'm back. I'm back. And I'm so excited to be here, y'all. I miss y'all so much. I miss being in this space. I miss being able to share parts of me with y'all. And although I go missing and life starts happening, I still am always journaling and taking notes and like, dang, I need to tell people about this. And then again, I'm still juggling between what I want to share and trying to keep my life private and realizing that the things that I go through and experiences are testimony, and there are some people out there need to hear um what I've been through, so hopefully it can help them grow, move forward, and get better in life. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to get there, y'all. So welcome. Of course, if you've been watching, I've revamped my podcast and content creating space, and I'm sitting in it now for the first time. And today I'm going to talk about my coming out story. It's Pride Month. And I had made a video and I was like, oh, I should give my coming out story. And someone was like, yeah, you should. I would love to hear it, or whatever she said. So I'm gonna tell y'all. And bear with me because I'm battling between wanting to hold my mic and clip it to my shirt. But we're gonna see how I do with me holding my mic. My last setup, I had the mic like on my desk and on my table, and this is a little bit different. So now I'm just trying to decide: I want to hold a mic or do I want a mic stand so I can be able to move around and do my hands and be all animated, and y'all know what I mean. So, all right, so it's Pride Month, and I wanted to share my coming out story. So, whew, take a seat. Let's get into it. All right, so I can honestly say like the attraction to women or girls started in elementary school. Um, I remember as early as second grade being attracted to a little girl in my class. Cannot remember her name, but there was a little boy who was attracted to her as well, and I remember his name is Jacob. Jacob. Me and Jacob used to fight over this little girl attention in second grade. So if I can say like when I first had my eye out on like dang, she's a really pretty girl. It started off in the second grade and kind of just exploring those thoughts. Now, I will tell y'all that I grew up in the church, and I'm talking like not like how most people like Monday Bible study, Tuesday old folks day, Wednesday quiet rehearsal. No, not like that. But it was like, Wednesday, you have the little midweek service. Saturdays we had choir rehearsal, and then Sundays, of course, Sunday school, and then into, service or children's church, depending on, how old we were. And of course, like, growing up in the 90s or whatever, the 1900s, those were the times I feel like pastors were preaching a lot on the things that we shouldn't do: lie, steal, cheat, kill, adultery, gluttony. You know what I'm saying? All of those things, homosexuality, one of the, were the big things that were being talked about back in the day. So, of course, having this mindset, going to church, little girl, feeling like, damn, like God don't love me. I'm going to go to hell. Um, how do I get these thoughts out of my mind? Like I didn't know how to, deal with that. And I can honestly say I didn't grow up in a household where my mom was the one I could be like, Mom, like, what does this mean? Or why do I feel this way? It wasn't like that. My mother didn't want to, she wasn't talking to nobody about nothing except keeping her house clean. Now, again, that's no shade to my mother. And that's a story for another day. But that's just how I remember growing up. So it wasn't until middle school. Well, of course, like now we're talking about our bodies maturing. So I, for myself, was a late bloomer. I didn't see boobs until I was like 17 years old. So I'm in middle school. There are girlies with C cups, D cups, and I'm like booties, belly button rings, all of the things that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So if you knew me in middle school, like I hung out with all of the Asian girls. If you were a pretty girl, I hung out with you. Like, in middle school we played like mother and families and all those things. Yeah, I hung out with all the pretty girls because I'm like, yeah, she's really pretty. Now I never like acted on those feelings or those emotions, but I was just like, I always want to be with the pretty girls because shit, they're pretty. So that's that. Then once I got into high school, Completely different realm. Completely different. I remember walking down the hallways, girls kissing, holding hands in the corners, at their lockers, babe, boo, I love you. That was the first time for me remembering what a stud was. And when I tell y'all I remember ninth grade, like literally mouth was open. Like I want that. How do I get that? Like I want to be able to just hold my girlfriend hand. I want to, but again, couldn't act on those feelings or those emotions or whatever the case may be because I was going to hell. And I honestly can remember like my best friend in high school. My mom later was like, "Oh, I thought you and such were gay together." She was like, "You ain't never talk about no boys. It was always you and such and such." And I'm like, "No, that was genuinely my best friend, and I wasn't attracted to her like that. But that she was literally my best friend." And I was like, "Girl, no, but you was on the right track. You was on the right track. I did like girls, but not my best friend. If I'm calling you my best friend, you're just that. We ain't doing none of that. If yeah, once I like you, I like you. But once I'm like, oh, that's my best friend, that's my friend, we ain't. You in the friend category. Okay, so somewhere between middle school and high school, I had my first opportunity to kiss a girl. Suck on a little little caress, a little hunching with your clothes on, a little grinding or whatever the case may be. And it was quite the experience. One where I was like, you know what? Again, I need more of that. This was quite interesting. What's going on? We need to tap into more of these feelings and emotions. And once I got to high school, like my junior and senior year was when it was like, yeah, girls, girls. I start kissing. I start having girlfriends. I start getting, you know, extra touched on or whatever. Like, yeah, high school was pretty cool. I remember having girls going crazy over me. I remember having girls later come back and tell me that they always had a crush on me. I'm like, this is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. I couldn't believe it. Like, why you ain't say nothing back then, girl? We could have had something. But nah. So, and as you can see, like this is like the me kind of like getting through everything that kind of like happened. Me trying to remember like bits and pieces. But it was like college senior year going into college. I remember telling my dad because at the time his girlfriend had found out, or I think I talked to her about it and was like, I'm scared to talk to my dad. I want him to know that I like girls. And she just, she encouraged me to do so. So I finally went and talked to my dad. I never forget this. We was in his work van when we were out in the parking lot, leaving my appointment to go get contacts. So I'm like, Daddy, I really need to talk to you about this. I think, I like girls. And he was like, shit, I do too. That's why I'm trying to get away from. And he said his girlfriend's name at the time. Now, if anybody from her side of the family is watching this, girl, it is what it is. This is my story. Let me tell it, okay? But yeah, he was like, yeah, that's why I'm trying to get away from my girlfriend. And we just kind of like laughed it off. And I'm like, yeah, Daddy, let's do it then. Like I thought I was just living in this alone. You know what I'm saying? But he like turned it into like a real haha moment. He didn't make me feel bad or anything or whatever. Like it was just real cool. Now how my parents feel about it now that I'm like older and they kind of see like, oh, this ain't just no phase. Like we ain't seen Sean with a nigga since, you know, her baby daddy or whatever the case may be, or whatever. Um, but my father, he's kind of like, he loves me. I'm his daughter. He wants what's best for me. As long as I'm happy, I'm happy. But he wouldn't come to my wedding. Um, I sit in that sometimes. I said that like without it to me, I guess like feeling like, oh, it didn't matter to me. And I'm not gonna lie, it does. Like I'm my daddy's only daughter. I would love for him to be there to walk me down the aisle. However, I can't fault him if he feels like the religion that he believes in, would somehow reprimand him, or he would be punished for being there to represent me as I'm marrying off with another woman. Completely understandable. Can't change his mom. My daddy is old school, and it is what it is. Would I love for him to be there? Of course I would love for my father to give me away. But again, I respect how he feels, and again, I can still pick up the phone and call him if I ever need anything. So it's kind of like a win is a win. Now my mom, I feel like she kind of like struggled with it. We battled with conversations and arguments with her, saying my lifestyle, like keep it away from me, even like within the last like decade or so. I remember we got into a big argument, and she was just like, well, if you want to live that life, you need to keep you and your child, like basically like stay away from me with it. You, your baby, whatever you got going on, I want nothing to do with it. And I'm like, dang, some of y'all just be out here real hard on your kids because they can't help who they choose to love. Like, there are so many things your child can be in this world, but because they like the same sex, y'all would literally rather not have a relationship with them. The world already treats us a certain type of way, despite the fact that we're in the community, other things we're fighting against. And y'all, the place where we would want to receive our love the most, y'all really don't give y'all kids the love, the time of the day, or want to communicate with them because they can't help who they are. Why is that? I really don't understand. Like, to choose to not to have a relationship with your child because of the lifestyle that they so say choose. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes some people don't choose this life. The thug life don't choose us. It is, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that'll always be my biggest thing. Like, one conversation I remember having with my mom, and I was like, well, what about that little boy whose mom, you have a conversation with her and she has a gay son, and she says, I always knew. He was always in my heels. He was always singing. He was always in his sister clothes. Like, she always knew. Like, when they come out, why are y'all so hurt by it? Y'all be knowing and know you can't be, pray. I feel like that lifestyle away. And I know because I tried. I dated men for a long period of time. I remember going back and forth between men and women trying to figure it out because people around me were telling me that there was something wrong with me. Oh, you ain't had the right man. Ma'am, sir, please. I've dated enough men to know that it ain't it for me. I don't like it. And it's not necessarily a physical thing. Sometimes it's just the way men are, how they communicate. Like, and nothing against anybody that I've dated. It's just, it wasn't you. It was me. Okay. And we're just going to leave it at that. Again, my story. Let me tell it. But yeah, so I just be like, it don't make no sense. My mom has said things to me like she would be like sharing her photos, and me and my sisters will pop up and someone will like point me out and be like, oh, let me holler at your door, and she'd be like, no, 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 no. And then she'll call me later and she'll tell me about it, and she'll be like, I should have just told them you don't like they kind. Mother, and you should have set the record straight. Don't give no man no opportunity to come back twice to be like, yeah, let me holler at your daughter. No, because if a guy was asking you for your number and you weren't interested in him, you're going to shut him down. No, sir, you're not my type, or no, thank you, I'm not interested. Do the same thing for me. So I'm just going to say this, parents, you know, if you have a child you suspect or has told you or is like, just show up. Give your baby love. That's that. You can't replace the child that you have. I don't care if you got 15. All of those children are different. They have different personalities, need different love, need different affection. Like, carry on with that relationship. It's gonna mean so much more to the both of y'all. And we all have this one life to live. Like, do something meaningful with it. Be different. Like, give y'all kids what they need. Dang. All right. Enough of that. Okay, so I want to basically touch on like the one girl who kind of like soared me over, and I like almost swore I would never go back on the men's side. Honestly, almost all of them. Every girl that I've ever been with, I'm just like, ugh, this is so great. And I've dated like some different kinds of women. So some people like, do you have a type? Um, and no, I don't really have a type, but it's more so like a physical thing. Like, once I make that eye contact and see that smile, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I need that. I need that. I do need that. One like physical trait or characteristic, physical feature that I like the most is like a full set of lips. I don't have I have a full bottom lip. My top lip is small. So like for me, I love a girl with a full set of lips and a nice, beautiful smile. And you know what I'm saying? Like everything else can just fall into place. If you have a nice full set of lips and a beautiful smile, everything else will follow. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I love being gay. Like I love it here. It kind of sucks being like a straight presenting woman because a lot of, it's hard to tell. So, you're always getting hit on by men and you always having to like check them and put them into place. And they're like, oh, it's because you ain't had the right one yet. Yeah, I feel like I should start saying other stuff to them to piss them off, but I try to be nice or whatever the case may be. But it also depends on what type of mood I'm in. Don't piss me off. Do not piss me the freak off. But yeah, y'all. Mm, so many different experiences. College was wild. Yeah, college was definitely wild. I need to change the like subjects like right now because I keep college was wild and letting my mind just go down memory lane of all the little girlies that I ran to while I was in college and quite the experiences. Another thing that happened to me in college, I remember my best friend was like, Chi Chi. She calls me Chi Chi. And if you know what a Chi Chi is, then you know why. Why aren't you bi? And I'm like, I can't just tell people that I'm bi. Like, it just doesn't sit right in my spirit. Although that's kind of what it was, but I just feel like that didn't resonate with who I was. Like I knew that like I was gonna marry a woman. I always knew I was gonna marry a woman. Like just do you see me and a woman next to me? Like just two pretty women just you know what I mean? Like anyways, the girls who get it. And I love it here. So yeah. Yeah. I like girls. um, I can't think of anything else I want to share about being a lesbian, except for the fact that like, just because a woman tells you she's gay and she's hanging out with girls doesn't mean she's sleeping with them or has an interest in them. And we're not attracted to every woman that we see. Like we are very picky. Y'all ain't seen that very picky with my gay. Like, don't chill on me. No, no, thank you. But yeah, coming out to my parents, I don't. It was easy to tell my father because, like I said, we made a joke about it. My mom, not so much. I feel like she just kind of it fell on her word of mouth. Somebody told her, but she said she always knew. Well, if you always knew, mother, why didn't you inquire and ask me so that we could talk about all my feelings and emotions I was having about the girlies? Gosh, I needed to know. And honestly, being gay is sometimes not that easy. As women, we are emotionals, menstrual cycles, like needy, shopping, but also those same things that kind of make it difficult are the same things that make it fun. I feel like with women, we know what we want. We're very intentional, just soft and just, you know, intentional. And once you learn like who you are and you're able to like portray that in every way possible, um, it's not hard to find somebody to match that. And I promise you that when I do, I'm gonna hold on to her. I'm not gonna come off her. I'm not at all. So yeah. Hmm. Happy Gay Pride Month, y'all. Until next time. Love always, Sean. Peace out.